Bill Gates, to some, he's a philanthropist, saving millions of lives in Africa. To others, he's meddling in Africa's business, either by bringing in GMO mosquitoes, IUD for women, GMO seeds. Why is he bringing all of these right now in Africa? We have no problem with population in Africa. We have food shortages in Africa, but it's not that alarming. As for malaria, there are other ways to eradicate malaria. Why is Africa used as a testing ground for all his genetic modified things? Why can't he do this in the Americans? Why are some countries in the West rejecting his projects? But these projects are being forced onto Africa. This is a call for concern. Why are African leaders accepting this? We are not test objects. This has to stop. Why is the womb of an African woman so important to Bill Gates that he wants to block them from having children? If he is concerned about population, he can do that in the Americans. Africa is not concerned about population. Today we're going to dive into what Bill Gates is doing in Africa, his role in Africa. We're going to separate the facts from the politics and the facts from the fear. Hello everyone, welcome to Her Voice. Bill Gates has been in Africa for over 20 years. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has spent billions of dollars across Africa. It is said they have spent approximately $27 billion in Africa. This is where I have a problem. What is the population of Africa? Depending on where you're looking at or what your source is, give or take about 2 billion. If the Gates Foundation goal is actually to eradicate poverty in Africa, they don't need to spend 27 billion in Africa. They can just give 1 billion per person in Africa and they'll solve that problem. Because one thing about us Africans, we know how to invest. But no, what they do with their money, they fund vaccines, immunization programs, malaria research programs, family planning programs, agricultural development programs, food security programs. Supporters argue that these efforts have saved millions of lives in Africa, especially the lives of children, because malaria has been a thing in Africa. But critics say the Gates influence is reshaping Africa. It's reshaping national policies, favoring technology, quick fix to things, and giving external players a large role in Africa. We can look at what he is doing in Congo. Who did he bring along when he went to Congo? Why do you think he has that influence in Congo? It's because he comes in and throws in few dollars to the government, and the government sacrifices the people. One of the biggest controversy he's involved in right now is the GMO seeds and crops. Genetically modified seeds, corn, cotton, and these seeds are not only aggressive in the way they grow and in the way they absorb nutrients from the soil, but in the future, they cause havoc. They have caused a lot of havoc in India, and India has practically banned the seeds from their country. Why is it that African leaders are accepting these in Africa? Yes, South Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and those are the biggest countries in Africa. Why are they accepting these in Africa? In the US, Brazil, Argentina, and Canada, GMO seeds are widely used. You know there are problems in these countries. If GMO seeds are beneficial, why is it that Europe, Asia, South America are banning the seeds, and the seeds have been forced upon Africa? Some African countries like South Africa and Nigeria, they have allowed the GMO maize and cotton, while others like Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Zambia, and Burkina Faso have rejected it. They don't want it. Globally, these seeds have been rejected from so many countries that accepted it in the beginning, and it wasn't good, and they rejected it. Many farmers in Africa are worried about losing control of their seeds, and later on, they will have to buy expensive seeds. If farmers later on have to buy expensive seeds, it means sooner or later, They will be forced to sell their farms. And who is going to come in and buy those farms? The Gates Foundation. He is buying farms everywhere in the Americas, and he's about to get into Africa. And as stupid as our African leaders are, they are falling for it. Why can't we just look at history and learn? When are we ever going to learn from history? India rejected it. China rejected it. Brazil is rejecting it. Countries in Africa are rejecting it. And our global powers, Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, are accepting the seeds. Now he is bringing genetic modified mosquitoes. Yes, malaria is a problem in Africa. We all accept that. But if we look at this, malaria has been eradicated completely from the Americans. They did not eradicate malaria using these mosquitoes. Why is it that we have to eradicate malaria using these mosquitoes? And yes, if malaria was his problem, if he wanted to solve malaria, he could have used the same methods in which the Americans eradicated the mosquitoes, follow that same method in Africa. But no, he did not. He decided to provide mosquito nets and malaria drugs. And later on, when Africa is at the brink of becoming so powerful, he is introducing this. You might want to say that is a good thing. It is a good thing. But have we thought about the side effects? Something has been genetically modified in a lab. What are the side effects when they get into the environment? When the mosquito bites a child, what are the side effects? Why test it in Africa? Can he not go to America and do the test and then bring us the best version of it? Africa is not a testing ground. That is why he was kicked out of Burkina Faso. Because when your leader is great, when your leader understands your future, he's not going to accept that nonsense. The people who defend a Gates will say Africa carries 94% of global malaria deaths, mostly in children. For them, the genetic-driven mosquito projects are seen as the life-saving innovation. It's true, it's a life-saving innovation. But are we saving the lives now and forgetting about the future? Or are we thinking about our future? Why is it that it is tested here? Africa is not the only place that has mosquitoes or has malaria. Why is it tested in Africa? Why is it that the way the Americans, the US, used to eradicate malaria, why can that method not be in Africa? Why do we have to bring in something that is modified to be able to eradicate malaria? Please, let's start looking at the future. Let's not look just about tomorrow. We have a generation to protect. Burkina Faso kicked them out. Do you think that was stupid of them? Other nations that have kicked them out, do you think that's stupidity? Then the most disgusting one is about the IUD for 8 years. If you do not know what IUD is actually a product that is put into a woman's body that helps in preventing them from having a baby. Guess what? This one is put in women and it can last for up to 8 years. There are different forms of IUD. There are hormone-induced IUDs and copper-induced IUDs. But why is it that this has to be for 8 years? Let's look at the female reproductive cycle. Most women by the age 45, they're already in menopause. It means from 18 to 45, a woman has not up to 22 years to have their babies. Okay, let's put in education. A woman decides that, no, I don't want to have a baby, I want to be educated. That's about 5 years, depending on how your level of education that you have added to reduce that window of you having a baby. We have taken 5 years for education, menopause sometimes at 45. It means the remainder of the 20 years for a woman to have a child, 5 has gone. Let's just put it down at 20 years. 20 years, and then the woman wants to do family planning, and then they have to take out 8 years out of that 20 years. That's 12 years. Please, how many babies do you want to have in 12 years? Do you want to do it back to back? Do you even know the side effects of the IUD that you've put into your body? There are many cases of women that have done that after the first baby and later on they cannot conceive. There are many cases of women that have done that before they started having babies and they cannot conceive. There are so many negative impacts of IUD. And then something that is modified to last up to 8 years? Can we see that these intentions are evil? His intentions are evil. His intentions are not pure. Africa has no issue with overpopulation. We have one of the largest vast land. We don't have overpopulation. Why are our leaders bent on killing us? Now I know how it's going to be. Soon this thing is going to get into universities. And it'll be, come and put an IUD and we give you 5,000. And hungry people or someone who doesn't want the girlfriend to have a baby, you go and put an IUD. And that is a generation of sterility that we're imposing on Africa. Can we be wise? Can we just be wise? Can we see that these intentions, all these things that this guy is bringing are bad for us? They have been banned from other countries. Even in the country where he's from, the United States, many of his people don't want these things. Why is he forcing it on Africa? And it doesn't come only with that. It comes with influence. He wants to have influence in other things in the continent. When are we going to rise up? When are our leaders going to stop this nonsense? Nigeria has nothing. Nigeria doesn't have overpopulation. Kenya has no overpopulation. So what family planning are you people trying to do? Do you want to end up like Japan or China? Japan refused people from having babies. Now they are suffering an effect of a population that is not growing, of an old population. Or China, which they are trying now to rectify the mistakes of their past. There is nothing like overpopulation on this planet Earth at this point in time. Because you know why? They are planning on going to Mars. Who is going to populate Mars? Did they see any life in Mars? No. So who are those that are going to populate Mars? Can he take his IUD and fly with his best friends to Mars and do that thing there and leave Africa for us in peace? And can our leaders, please, when are you going to rise up? When are you going to be for your people? When are you going to allow the food we eat, you people want to control it? The womb of black women, you people still want to control it? What has the womb of African women got to do with Bill Gates? Overpopulation isn't your problem. Is overpopulation Bill Gates' problem? If poverty is his problem, I have given him a solution. He doesn't need to spend 27 billion. 5 billion would do it. Say everybody send you a bank account. And you put the money there. That will be good. And you can go your way. But no, you come up with schemes. You take minerals, you take resources, and you give us sterility. You give us food that is not good for us. The way you have destroyed your country, you want to come and destroy Africa. You want to use us as tests for whatever nonsense you're creating. And then we have leaders who don't just care. Leaders who will always look at money, greed. You forget about the future of your people. You forget about the future of your women. No, greed. Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana. What are you people thinking? Why are you accepting genetic modified food into your country? Seeds into your country. Genetic modified IUD into your country. IUD don't last for 8 years. Why is it that the first time it has to last for 8 years, it's been tested on African women? Why is it not tested in the country where he's from? When are we going to think? When are we going to make changes to our mind? When are we going to think about the future and not about the little pennies that we have? This is sad. Bill Gates, leave the womb of African women in peace. Leave the food of Africans in peace. We don't need it. If you want to take care of mosquitoes, do it the same way it was done in the America and Canada and in other Western world. Don't bring modified things to us. We do not want it. These things have been banned in other countries, my people. It has been banned. It was introduced you can read about it in India. It was introduced in India. India suffered a lot. They had to import food. And now we want to have it. Where are we going to? Are we moving in front or 10 steps behind? And he targeted the best African countries: South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria. What has greed gotten to us? Be careful. Be warned. There are so many people that are having effects of IUD. They don't know how they can get out of it. If your government is hungry and thirsty, they can make deals. Let them sell the minerals underneath Africa and eat the money. That's what they have been doing. Let them not affect the womb of African women, the food of Africans. No, at least we have that as our pride.